Kia ora, kia ora. Hello, everybody.
Yes, Etuale. Welcome to the show, man. We appreciate you waking up early. What time is it there right now?
5:25 at the moment. Thanks for having me, guys.
You kind of look like you're locked up right now.
No, I'm just in. It's pretty early in the morning. Don't want to wake anybody else. So I'm trying to stay as far as I can from the door.
There we
It's
go.
also crazy to hear a Samoan with like almost like an Aussie accent. That is that too common?
Sorry.
You kind of have like what I imagine an Australian accent. Is it different from New Zealand?
Yeah. No, Australians have different accents from us. For us, we feel as if they sound a lot more like people from the UK, and I just feel like, no pun intended, but I feel like we just sound a whole lot more masculine than Australians. But
there we go. Take those shots. Take those shots at the Aussies. Etuale, bro, we've got a bunch of questions for you, but first we actually got a couple good questions from the chat. First, Mike Mathis, he asked, how's Joe Thomas? Have you had any interaction with Joe Thomas? I know he's doing offensive stuff, but have you had any interaction with him?
Yeah. I've only had one so far, which was last year. Obviously, I haven't flown over to Germany just yet. I'm still doing my work here in Australia. But, just from what I got last year, he seems like a really down-to-earth type of person. Someone who likes to share his knowledge and really likes to get involved with the team. It's really cool to see somebody who's played at the highest level come down to, to people like us and not have an ego. To also just, share what it's like being at the top and what it's going to take for us to want to play at the highest level. So, down-to-earth guy.
Absolutely, man. I mean, that's just really cool to have involved with the organization. And we'll talk about the organization a little bit more, but back to you. You technically started playing organized football in 2022. Is this correct?
No, 2023, last year was my first time.
So last year. So basically, last year was your first true season on an official football team.
Yeah, correct.
How was that, man? And I know you played rugby. Do you feel like your rugby skills translated immediately to the football field? Can you kind of talk us through what was your first year being on a football team like?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. It was an experience to remember. One for the books. But it was also very difficult, to be honest. Coming from rugby league, we have a game plan and it's just on one sheet of paper. And then you come over to football and your game plan is basically like a dictionary. So it's like trying to learn a whole different language. But other than that, everything else seemed to, run smoothly. I'm so used to the contact. I love the contact. I love the nitty gritty side of football. But just still trying to learn the technique and everything. The game itself was a bit tough, but towards the end there, you start to get the hang of things. But I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really looking forward to what 2024 has in store for me.
What do you think some of the challenges were for the Munich Ravens in 2023, and how do you think you guys will improve on them coming out this season?
I think for us, number one was injuries. Just trying to monitor injuries and trying to keep players healthy and trying to keep us rotated. We didn't do much of that last year, and and lack of experience. There are a lot of us that came into the league and we didn't really know what the expectations were at playing with the highest level, because a lot of us had never had a taste of that. But yeah, I think those are the two main ingredients that we were missing out on this past year was just a healthy team and a lack of experience because we had a lot of talent and we had a lot of hard workers. that was basically the main thing we were missing was just healthy players and experience. And I think that's where we got it right this off season. We've got a very experienced coach. Not to say our previous coach wasn't experienced, but we've brought in somebody that who can look at football from both sides as a coach and as a player, and also help out with the boys. Relate in that aspect. We've also brought in players, that are really experienced, that have played the game for such a long time, that have had experience overseas and from the top for the highest level and things like that. So I think that's where we got it right. Is we found our missing pieces from last year, and we finally started to connect the dots this year. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you touched on it a little bit there, but kind of overall, how is the sentiment and the vibe of the team now with Coach Ellison coming down and being the coach, especially you as a defensive guy? What's our kind of the expectations for the Munich Ravens in 2024?
I think it's just the expectation for us. I mean, for ourselves specifically, we're trying to hold ourselves to a high standard. We're not taking it easy on people. We're trying to get out there and prove a point. We're trying to get out there and knuckle down and smash some fellas into the ground. And we're trying to put some fear into some teams and make them guys not want to play us. Not look forward to playing the Munich Ravens. And I think that's one thing that coaches installed in us was, to believe in ourselves as much as we believe in our brothers, to go out there and trust one another, that everything will connect well. So once we get out there, the offense is going to be thinking a whole lot of how this is going to go down, because I promise we're a team to look out for, and especially this defense that we've got, we're a team to look out for. We're going to install some fear into some teams and look out for us Munich Ravens coming on.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I agree 100%. And I do want to ask you specifically, because I think it is kind of shaping up to be one of the cooler rivalries in the ELF. The Stuttgart Surge, Munich Ravens versus Stuttgart Surge, two teams in Southern Germany, both in the Central Conference. Last year, traded games. You guys won one, they won one. Can you just talk a little bit about kind of this rivalry that's developing here in Southern Germany?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool, and I love things with a bit of rivalry, with a bit of meaning behind it. I don't think a lot of people see it that way, but for me personally, respect to Surge boys, but just the way they took that first game, and they can listen to this all they want, and it's not going to bother me. But like, I took that first game really personal, because I felt like we had that in the bag. We had the team to beat them, and just the way they went about it, kind of. I took that personal, and I think for all the other boys is, we kind of took that personal as well, and we're looking at, this little rivalry that everyone's starting to talk about, and I think it's really cool, especially for the game itself, for the European culture as well, to get behind it, and you look back at it in a few years' time and say, damn, like, it all started, back here, and these were the guys that kind of built it, and I really want to leave a mark behind, where everybody's going to talk about the Munich Ravens and the Stuttgart Surge. Teams really went head to head, and there was no holding back.
Yeah. Hey, did you have any other offers this season, or did you just want to go back to Munich? Did you consider going anywhere else?
No, I mean, I was, I spoke with, I had spoken with a few clubs, I won't say, but my intentions were always to go back to Munich, because of one, Sean Shelton. He was one of the guys that really knew how to look after us. The guys that weren't from Germany, and I always trusted him. But I always knew that the Munich Ravens were going into the right direction, and to see that and to manifest that, I always wanted to be a part of such a great legacy and to be a part of what Munich Ravens is building. I want people to talk about that, years on and be like, these guys really made a name for the Munich Ravens and for the Bavarian culture. And, I want to leave a stamp on this city and be a part of this legacy.
Absolutely, man. And actually, we got a good question here from the chat from Balu. Balu has asked, "What is your connection to the fans?" I had the impression that the Raven fans loved him last year. Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with the Munich Ravens fans? And I know you also did. I don't know how many times, but at least once I saw the video of the haka, if I'm saying that right, dance on the sideline. So can you talk about your relationship with the Ravens fan base?
Yeah, for sure. It's really cool. It's really cool, but I really get, I don't know how to explain it, but I think it's just more, taking the sport, but also finding a balance, to connect with the fans and let them know that, yeah, just because I play football and just because I play on a big stage like the European Football League, I will always find common ground with you guys to connect. And I think just being out there and being goofy and just giving the fans something to laugh about, not always being tense. I feel like I find a bit of peace with that. It kind of calms me down to know that some of the fans really enjoy it and really get excited to see some of that stuff. So I really connect with the fans, and when I do a bit of those dancings on the sideline, just to let them know, it's all right. Just because we're football players, we're still human beings. We're all on the same level. We're still equal. But yeah, it's a really cool thing to see. Just to see the smiles on fans' faces. That's the main goal at the end of the day. Football will be football, but at the end of the day, you want to put smiles on fans' faces. They pay a lot of hard work and money on their tickets to come and watch, and the ultimate goal is to win. But then you want to also put some smiles on some faces. So. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, and I would appreciate that because obviously what happens on the football field is so important, but also kind of, especially here in the European League of Football, as this is a growing sport, kind of the connection with the fans and the experience as a whole for the people on the field and off the field in the seats watching the game. So I really appreciate that you bring that value on the field, but also off the field as well, man. Before we let you go, I do want to just ask one last question about kind of you personally as a football player. So last year was your first official year, like we talked about. 2024, how do you feel personally about you as a defensive lineman football player, and what are your expectations for yourself on this next season, 2024?
I feel great. I'm going into 2024. And I think nothing less than greatness this year. Just go out there and be better than you were last year. Whatever you need to improve on that. But 2024 is be better than you were last year, or even be better than you were yesterday. So for me, it's nothing short of greatness. That's what I'm aiming to be this year. Go out there and be great. Be the greatest you can be. And if it comes to it, try and be the greatest lineman in the game. That's what I'm aiming for this year.
Love it.
Love that, man. Hey, Etuale, thank you so much for joining us on the show, man. Thanks for everything that you do on the field and off the field. And lastly, thank you so much for staying up so damn late, or now early, to do this interview all the way across the world, man. We really appreciate it. Now go get some sleep into the afternoon, and rest up, man.
Jay, guys, have a good one. God bless.
Later,
yeah. All the best, man.